A warm welcome to you from SAF TV. This is Say As It Is show, and I remain your host, Natasha Brown. I love that you have been listening and watching, and I know that it has been really amazing. We have a lot more to come, so don't go anywhere. Just stay tuned, and we'll be right back. All right, so Say It As It Is show with my lovely guests here. I'm sure if you've not been tuning in, these are my lovely co-anchors. And on my right here is Mr. William Sabule. Welcome, a media practitioner. Thank you so much. Miss, thank you. Miss Favor Jeremiah, welcome. Thank you so much. Beautiful as you are. Your dress is lovely.
Thank you.
And Mr. Victor Sioku, the traditionalist.
Thank
And a carpenter.
Thank you. And thank you guys.
All right, so let's just get right into it. The topic of discussion for today is a smart generation experiencing the highest rate of unhappiness. Just so that I buttress my point, I'm just going to read out this excerpt from a statistic blog website, so to speak, called Gallup. So according to Gallup, in 2006, the number, so ranging from 0 to 100, right? The rate of unhappiness, the measurement, it was at about, say, 24, 23. And it kept increasing. It kept increasing. And now now we're in 2023, but this was taken as through to 2021. As of 2021, it had increased to 33.
Wow.
And I'm sure it has even increased the more. Why do we say that? Case in point, I mean, we're seeing an astronomical number of suicidal cases, depression, mental illness, and all of that. But even with all of that happening, we are living in the time of abundance. What do I mean by abundance? Money is at your fingertips. How do I say that? Open a TikTok account. Put out some, just for example, you love eating flowers.
Yeah.
Put that up. You would get up to maybe 100,000 subscribers or whatnot. And before you know it, in a month, you are close to earning $10,000, if not more. YouTube. Put out your content consistently. The people like the Mr. Macaronis and all of that, they're earning close to $40,000 monthly.
Wow.
Now, imagine our international counterparts. Some people earn as close to $1 million.
Yeah.
It's that astronomical where you can now generate your income with just your smartphone. In the 60s, it wasn't like that, the baby boomer generation. It wasn't like that. But they didn't have as much suicidal rate as we have now.
No.
They didn't even have as much abundance. I mean, was it not in the 60s in Nigeria that we had the Civil War?
Yeah.
Those people came out from the Civil War and still were able to manage themselves up until now. And we didn't have such cases. So what gives? What gives, Mr. Victor?
Because right now, people don't even want to live that modest life that our parents lived back in the days. So we tend to put in so much pressure on ourselves. Self-inflicted pressure on ourselves. That is what's causing most of the issues right now.
Yeah.
So the same social media you're mentioning that, some person go out there and
earn a lot of money.
That social media is also influencing people the negative way. So when they see that, I've tried this out before, like the macaronis and the rest you mentioned, I've tried this out before, it did not work for me, but it's working for this other person. Then the thoughts comes in. The person now
Why is my own
feels
different?
That, man,
Maybe I'm not so talented. Maybe my life is my village people. Right.
Yeah, so you see, that's the negative part of the whole thing. But is depression and all that increasing suicidal thoughts? Yes, they are increasing because of the age that we live in. There are
Information age, borderlessness, global village.
There are too many ways that you can fall into. What about peer pressure?
Societal pressure?
Yeah. So it keeps increasing because you have things that will checkmate, that will make you fall into those traps. Back in those days, our parents, they had friends and all that, but the pressure wasn't that high. Okay, and that was then back in the days, just with a modest, a small car, your small family, a small house. But now, in fact, if you don't even live in a duplex in some places, in some communities, you on your own will be looking at yourself like a failure.
Yeah.
So the pressure is too much out there.
Very true.
Williams.
Very true. Well, I'm going to say that
I'm going to pick up something Victor said about social media. For me, I feel the pressure is now intense more than ever because the world has opened up now more than ever. So going back to the 60s and 70s, you hardly can reach your sister that lives in Abeokuta within a day. It will take weeks, maybe months, to be able to get a letter across to her. But these days, right there in your room, flip out your phone, you can reach 1 billion people in a split second. And that means the world has opened up. You can make money, like you said, but it also opens you to a lot of negativity, a lot of pressure. And it also, a lot of people want to get validation on social media, on these, in this global village where the whole world can see you in a split second. We want to get the validation from the world. Whereas in the old, you have your family and your content.
Right.
Yeah, they make you feel loved. Because yes, when we go out for dates and all of that, we don't get to flip out our phones and everybody's busy pressing, right? So you could be out there with your friends and then you find out that one amongst you is highly depressed and you don't even know.
You don't know. And they're taking pretty pictures.
Yeah, the person is there chatting.
Posting memes.
Yes, chatting with the person that is killing her or killing him. And you're there, everybody else with their own two person. So there's a lot that this global openness has brought to us. It has really mounted more pressure on young people, this generation of people. So you find them, the ones that are very lily-hearted, the ones that really cannot take it, begin to break down. And then again, these days, the way you want to kill yourself is also available. When you have reached that breaking point, if you don't know how to do it, if you don't know how to do it,
the content is out there.
If you don't know how to
1,000 ways to die. 1,000 ways to commit suicide. Painless suicide.
So it's there,
heartbreaking.
and then no wonder even in the Western world these days, especially in the US, you see a lot of shootouts. And these shootouts are not being done by older persons.
No, teenagers. Children. 13 years old, 10, 9.
Break into schools and kill 15 people and have it aired on social media. So that point where people are beginning to want to validate themselves, I don't know what level of validation they are looking for, is creating a lot of negativity.
Favor.
Well, from what Victor and Williams have rightly said, I realize, or I feel that what's constant is the validation and social media, the pressure. But I'm going to come at it from another angle. Right. So we have people who aren't even too social media savvy, but then again, the pressure gets to them. So there's a sense of responsibility that comes knocking at your door, and just by that, you begin to feel like, oh, I'm not doing much. I'm not doing the much that I should. So you have parents looking up to you, you have siblings looking up to you, you have your personal aspirations and goals that you want to achieve, and you feel that, oh, at this time of my life, I should have been at this point.
Right.
But then again, you find yourself, a few steps backward. That is already a pressure on its own, even without social media. So, but then when you bring social media into it, it further compounds the issue. So that's my take on it.
It brings me to this point. So we have all mentioned social media, and we have also mentioned when life has shortchanged you. But have you noticed that recently, in recent times, the most people who have committed suicide are termed successful? I'll give you an example. The dancer, famous dancer, world-renowned dancer, Twitch. He used to also be on Ellen DeGeneres show. He was helping her co-host. Nobody knew what he was battling with. The wife said she knew that, he had his mood swings and his episodes, and she was a bit worried, but she didn't think it was going to get extreme. On this particular day, he drove himself, checked himself in a hotel.
Oh my God.
And blew his brains out.
Quite unfortunate.
He wasn't broke. He was successful. So what really is the cause of our unhappiness? Because it's a pandemic.
Yeah.
It is.
It is a pandemic. Some of us, we can say, man, it's our money, because especially in Nigeria, a lot of millennials, this money that is making people happy.
The pressures of the economy.
But there are people who are still making this money and are deeply unhappy. So what gives?
So
On a deeper level.
let me start by saying that it's the same thing we said earlier, where that family setting where people can talk to each other is fast eroding. People can no longer talk. So you have a family where you have your wife, siblings living with you, but everybody is in the world of their own. Either on their phones, with their friends. These days, people now can be in their rooms and work from there, and you don't get to see them
Remote
for weeks.
work.
So you are with family, but yet you're alone. So when you have real issues that you don't even know who to trust to talk to. Right. So you have your wife that is right there that you could talk to, but there could be some level of detachment that she has also found another thing that she's attached to. So you're alone. And so when you cannot seem to, bring that thing up, then you want to ask me if there aren't, people that can help them, like psychologists and all of that. So sometimes these psychologists don't really get it right. You go and speak out and tell them how you feel, but still they cannot really interpret.
Get to the core of it.
So sometimes you become lost. And when you feel like you're now lost, you can't seem to find the headway out of this thing. Boom.
Yeah, so we're talking about depression, we're talking about suicidal thoughts and all of that, but also there's the part of dissatisfaction where we are always comparing ourselves with ourselves.
Competition.
And even when you are driving a Benz is not enough. When you are driving a Range, it's not enough. When you are driving Jeep, it's not like, what is enough in our generation? Can we even quantify what enough is? So that case in point, the question that comes up, what is satisfaction? What can we term as satisfaction? What can we define satisfaction as? Can we ever even be satisfied?
Well, there's a saying that what human wants now, right, are insatiable, right? But I feel like with the level of exposure that's out there, the standards that the society is creating, and setting for us, the subject of satisfaction now, it becomes an individual thing. You have to be able to set the standard for yourself. Am I content with this point? I'm not saying that that's an avenue for complacency now. You don't have to be complacent, but then again, there's contentment. There's a line between being complacent and being contented. So you're as a person, as an individual, you should be able to set the standard of what satisfies you at this point. Know when to push for more. Know when to draw. If you're satisfied with a level of effort or what you're doing at the point, you don't find yourself going into unnecessary competition either with yourself or with somebody out there or what you see on social media. But the contention here, or the central idea here is being able to set the standard of what satisfies you as a person before you even talk about what's on there. Because your capacity is a lot more different from the next person. So why should you judge your level of satisfaction with what comes on with the next person? So I think that's what
it's like you have not heard those, or you've not heard those motivational speakers come to tell you that don't settle for less.
Yeah, that's why I said it's not an avenue for but when you're dissatisfied with what or where you are, it shouldn't be as a result. It shouldn't be based off of the fact that this person is doing better or this person is way ahead of me. It should be an individual thing. With myself, do I want to push myself further? What reasons do you have? What is the motivation? So a lot of young people, their motivation for wanting to do better is because I want to show them.
Yeah.
I want to pepper them.
Yeah,
do you understand? So that's like a wrong mentality first off to begin with, and then if you go on ahead with such a mentality, there's every tendency that when it's not going as you want it to, you will get depressed.
Right, Victor?
See, this is a very deep topic.
Yeah.
Okay? You see some persons out there, they are feeling all good, having best time of their lives, but deep inside them, a whole lot is happening. Okay? You ask why sometimes because of maybe just, in quotes, a long time bereavement that has happened. Somebody has died.
There's a void.
That person can just
break you,
push them down. You still have situations whereby loneliness.
I was going to even come to that.
Might even be the rate even for married women.
Right.
The rate is too high that they feel so lonely in their marriages, and they don't have anybody to talk to. You can even see them during the day, they are all littered up, but at night they go back to their beds and they cry their eyes out. A whole lot is happening. What about in terms of career? When some persons out there, they are suffering, be it in school, be it at their workplace, they are suffering, and when they come back home, they cry their eyes out. So a whole lot of things are happening. Be it Gen Z, be it millennial, be it old. In fact, they say even from age 12 to 64, 5% of the world are suffering from depression.
Let's bring it back even to the statistics I pointed out from the blog Gallup. We see that in 2006, it was low, very low.
Yeah.
2006 is not very far.
Yeah.
It was low. All of a sudden, 2021. Now, I know that one of the factors that came into play that was stated there categorically was COVID. That once COVID came, it really knocked people off. We remember Amazon laid off, Facebook laid off. In fact, they're still laying off. And then it was also stated that the government seemed to have a blind spot around that. And if we remember clearly, even around that COVID-19 period, we remember places like Dubai, they created an office, Ministry of Enjoyment. So they had a Minister of Enjoyment where your own is to cater to the mental health of the people. Everybody laughed at it.
Sure.
But we live in a time where that might not be a bad office for every country to have, especially a country like Nigeria.
Yeah.
Because Nigeria is a country where we don't necessarily, in fact, let's even go down to therapy. Therapy is expensive.
It is expensive.
Yeah.
So.
1 hour session, you pay 50,000 naira.
Yeah.
How many people
Can
afford
afford it?
Like
Yes.
I said, they don't. So most of them don't get to help you.
Even if they do get to help you, can you afford it?
Yeah. So they do it professionally, but they end up. Some people end up living there and are still in the same state. Probably just a little bit of lifting, but they still feel that way. And then I was going to now say that in Nigeria, we in time past, I could almost swear that a Nigerian will not take his life.
A lot of us would have said that.
Yeah.
A lot of
no
us would have
matter the
said that.
pressure. But in recent times, we've seen people jump over a bridge. People drink. There was one time they banned sniper. Because people
Which is rat poison for
know,
those of us
course,
who
we've
not
also seen
Nigerians.
People take their life for very stupid reasons like love, breakup, and all of those. But yes.
But it's not quite stupid though, but we'll just keep going.
I feel that if let me just address that one. If you take your life because you had a breakup, you are the loser.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, you are the loser. So there's no need to do it. You will recover. It's like a sickness. When you're sick, you decided to kill yourself.
There's some that scar you, but then that's a topic for another day.
When you're sick, you don't kill yourself. You heal. You treat
With
yourself. And then when you heal, you get out of it.
But when you're sick of cancer, most of the time you die.
Love, breakup is not cancer.
It's not.
It's temporal. The pain is temporal.
Ooh, okay. Then I'll just leave that topic. But then, so we've talked a lot about social media. You know, the effect of social media in this day and age. Because funny thing, something I've recently started practicing, like Simon Sinek would say, I most of the time will drop my phone when I'm with someone. I went on a date with a guy, some months back, and it was just beautiful. So the food was before us. Instinctually, I just carried my phone
To take a picture.
and he said, no, we're not doing that. If we're going to do this for the whole time of this date, our phones will be off.
That's quality
and
time.
I did that, and we had such an amazing time.
Yeah.
No phones, we didn't take pictures, nothing. So it brings me to that point where is social media or technology really the issue, or the fact that we as a people now lack self-discipline and lack that sense of responsibility for our own selves. So we are blaming it on social media and technology. What do you think, Victor?
Maybe I should use my life as an example. Okay. One thing is having confidence about yourself. I think it plays a whole lot of role here, because when you are trampled, when you go down, when life happens to you, you should know that get
You
back
come
up
back
again,
up.
okay? But some persons might not have that kind of courage, that kind of courage,
Confidence,
that confidence, that strength to pull through. And what then happens? Depression comes in. What then happens? You start taking drugs. What then happens?
Suicidal
You
thoughts.
substance abuse. And look at in Nigeria, we know that we are having serious economical issues.
Yeah.
And that makes it so easy for people to take drugs.
Yeah.
Cheap drugs everywhere. That about 15% of Nigerians are abusing drugs. 15 whole percent.
That's
Why in
that's
the
large.
USA that we think that they
are
are
disciples.
the ganja with persons.
Yeah.
Just 5%. Nigeria
That's
is doing
that's
15%.
scary. That is scary.
And the US is
That is
doing
scary.
5%.
That is
So
scary.
what does that tell you?
10%.
And US is doing 5, we are doing 15. US has the money, we don't have the money.
Right.
And you just wonder, why are we doing this so much? Now, in terms of Christianity, religious, Muslim, Christian, we have it here. We have the numbers. Then you ask, why are we having that high rate in this country? Poverty is dealing with us in a very big margin.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Away from poverty, that's a very a strong point, right? But I also think that as Nigerians, we have come to the point where we started losing sight of the whole essence of how do they say it now, of togetherness, of family,
Community.
Thank you. I think that's the word I was looking for. The sense of community is gradually fading off. So just like Abule rightly pointed out, so you can be in the same space with somebody, but for example, my house. So my brother is around, I'm around. He's on his phone, he's chatting, I'm on my phone. The only time we get to say out words out is when he says, "Oh, come and see this stuff."
Yeah.
Just take a look at this video. So you're in the same space, but yet you're so wide apart. So that sense of community, we've become so exposed to the point that we've lost sight of community. So that's what brings the trend now that says, somebody who is really an extroverted person can be going through a whole lot of stuff and you wouldn't even know. So when the person, you hear that, oh, this person took the person's life, I'm like, how? He in the group is the one who makes us laugh the most. So how did it happen?
Yeah.
So we need to go back to the time where we took it as a responsibility to check on ourselves. The community spirit to check on ourselves. How are you actually doing? Sometimes you ask the person, how are you doing? My brother sent me a video a couple of months back. So he says on the video, a person was chatting and he said, "How are you?" And the person typed a very long,
episode.
Yes, and this is what I'm going through and everything, and then deleted all of it. And then just said, "I'm fine."
He felt like it was too much. Can you handle it?
I'm fine. So there's this lack of community spirit that is eating us up a whole lot, which is a contributing factor.
You seem
to
itchy to say something.
Yes, I think that community has its role. Okay, but they say an idle man is a devil's workshop.
Okay.
So when there's that vacuum, imagine when I also mentioned about loneliness.
Yes.
When there is that vacuum, something needs to fill it up. And that is where depression comes in.
Isn't that where community comes in?
Okay. Now, the community part, one can ask, be asking out, how are you doing, and that. But afterwards, what then happens? That same person you are asking, how are you, and all that, there's no remedy. I don't see it as a remedy or a solution. There's still a big vacuum there. And I'm bringing in the Nigerian space into this. Why our youth are going through a lot right now is because
poverty?
they are idle, because there's nothing to do. Okay? But the few ones, yes,
have
I
something
still
to
know
do.
some persons that still have stuff to do. Mind you, there are many branches to this.
Yeah.
You still have persons that, due to illness, genuinely is just about illness. Genuinely is just about the family tree. Mind you, it can hover from one generation to the other. Okay? But if you go out to the street and find that majority of these issues are coming because of money. Issues.
Idleness. So that's what I even wanted to come into now. He talked about idleness.
Sure.
But we're a smart generation. So it means that idleness is not necessarily an excuse anymore. If your
True.
economy is faulty, it means that with that phone that you have, do what you can with it. It means that it's not a time that we should blame the government anymore. That is why I asked that question. Are we as a generation or as a people absolving self-responsibility and abdicating it to others? Putting it on the government, putting it on social media? Where is that sense of self-responsibility and ownership to say that I feel a type of way, I feel lonely, I feel sad, I feel unhappy. How am I going to work around this? What should I do? How am I going to find a solution? Why is it that we are beginning to be a people who be like, oh, I am lonely, and you're just expecting people to come to you? Why not you go to people?
Okay, so the orientation.
That's the question now.
So
why are we absolving self-responsibility and putting it on third parties?
So what kind of orientation is this, or has this generation been exposed to? That's the question that we need to ask, because we talked about the baby bloomers and people in their early 80s or late 70s, how they
60s,
handled life. They handled it better. You see, most of our fathers got married when they were 20, 18, 21, mostly 25. They were already married and had a family that they were coordinating properly. But today, if you see a 25-year-old, what he's looking for is different from what your head can ever imagine. So what kind of orientation are they exposed to? Have you gotten an orientation that, will give you the sense of responsibility to take charge of your life, as it were? Or the people that you have been exposed to, the people that are bringing you up, are also broken? Are they
Trauma.
Yeah.
Trauma.
Are they so broken that they make you feel that all man for himself?
Yeah.
Say anything if you do to survive. Is that the kind of orientation you have? Because if you ask me, true, a lot of young people today were on their own and are still on their own. So if you are saying that, okay, they should take responsibility, they don't even know what that is. Okay, so they woke up in a broken home for some of them in a complete home, but Papa they on his own, Mama they on his own.
Yeah,
Everybody's
there's
just
that vacuum.
So I'm saying that I'm blaming it on globalization, as it were, the advent of
The trend
the
of borderlessness, global
borderlessness,
village.
as it were.
Right.
If you look at when this thing started going south, it started sometime maybe in the 90s. Started breaking out in the 90s. People from the 90s to today can no longer tolerate a lot of things. Okay, so Mom, I can't take this anymore. And the next thing you hear a loud noise in your bedroom, your child has taken his life because he cannot take the pressure of being responsible. So there's a lot.
There's a lot to go into, especially that part of the lack of resilience, a resilient spirit. So please do stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a short break.
Hey there! Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
All right, so we've come to this other section in other news. So in other news, are we saying that self-responsibility has a huge role to play, or there is no way around this? Because we've talked about trauma, we've talked about poverty, we've talked about a lot of things, idleness, right? But where is the role of you owning yourself, irrespective of what has been going on in the world, Victor?
Yeah, they say happiness is a personal thing. You need to create happiness for yourself. Okay, and unfortunately for us nowadays, we put in so much focus on items. Okay, we tend to
Materialize it.
make joy from buying or acquiring items, forgetting that you need to associate, you need to travel, you need to experience things, and those memories can keep you going. against those items you are buying. Okay, that's one side. Then when you now start talking about how did your life fare from being a young boy, a young child, till where you are right now, experiences also count. Okay,
Yeah, right.
the kind of life you lived, who influenced you as a young person. Okay, if I tell a bit about my
Your story, yeah.
I had things that really influenced me, that made me tougher. Okay, and
Case in point, one peculiar thing that
my
really.
dad was a tough man. My dad was a tough man. You throw stones at him, he smiles at them. So when life pushes you, challenges come, when you remember all those things, man, forget. Time will heal. We'll keep pushing. So when you have such balance.
All right, so let's just get right into it. I've heard so much from Victor, the part of role models. Do we think that is a very important aspect? What are our thoughts on it? To actually have that model influence you right from growing up, like that makes you become a well-rounded or well-grounded man or woman. Favor?
Well, there's that. There's a role that plays. But then again, you still see people who had people mirror, a perfect role model example to them, and they still find themselves somehow at that point, because that's a person's role model or father or whatever figure, had such resilience and strength. It doesn't guarantee that generations are not the same thing. What you faced is not what I faced, right? So you see them asking a 15-year-old, you're a teenager, what is in your head? Why do you feel like you have a reason to be depressed? And in that person's head and mind, like, I have a million reasons to be depressed. I mean, this is my generation. What I'm facing is obviously not what you've had to face and all of that. So I think that plays a role, but it's not entirely the central point. So there's still the place of the person, the individual, regardless of having that person mirror, an exemplary life for you, or how resilient you should be. You should also get to the point where you take responsibility for yourself. I had this friend one time. He wasn't even idle. Idleness was not even his problem. But he posted something and said he's tired, he's done with this thing and all of that. Immediately I saw it, I picked up my phone and I called him. What's going on? What's this? And he went over it all over again and all of that. So I started encouraging him and giving him, reasons to still push. So there's still the place of talking, right? So as much as we would be responsible, sometimes they say the problem that is shared is half solved. Yeah. You might not get all the solutions, but there's this burden that gets lifted when you know that, oh, I'm speaking to someone and this person actually does care about me, or listens and is able to prefer a solution in the situation where the person is able to.
Yeah. So, let me the role of the place of talking, very important. Then we also know that we need to also understand that we need to also have family, as it were. We need to start to create that family orientation again. Family might not necessarily be your blood relative. It might be a friend. It might be, somebody that you can talk to. Because I believe that in talking, you will be able to lift some burden. That's one part. Then we need to also understand as human beings that if you die while you're under that pressure, it all ends there. So, now man, when they are alive, if you enjoy all the whole pressure, all the whole success when they aspire for, the pressure that you're feeling now that you have not succeeded, if you die today, you failed still. They will still have. So you need to stay alive. Take it one step after the other. All the big people that you admire, all the Davidos,
they all have a story, a trajectory, where they started from.
Yes, they didn't just arrive there. So most times they don't show you, the pain. You only see the glory. You only see where they have arrived. They don't show you what they go. Even the Davidos and the Wizkids still today, they are still workaholics. They still break their backs. They still have their tough times. They still have businesses that fail for them. But they understand that they need to be alive to keep up, because there are better days. They've seen the bad days. They are enjoying their better days. Then sometimes you don't see them every time on social media. Those times that they are alone, you don't know what they are going through. They might be going through a tough time. So when it's all popping, you see them everywhere. and then you feel like, oh, these guys are always popping. So my own is just be content. Contentment is very key. Please, we need to teach people how to be content with what, or the phase that you're in, because there's a reason why God created seasons, all right? So there are seasons in everybody's lives. So there's the rainy season, there's the sunny season, then there's the harmattan and all the rest. So there's the time of abundance for every man. So wait and be patient. When you're in your season of abundance, plan for the dry season. Plan. We know that it's not everybody that will have that knowledge of planning for the seasons, as it were. But if you know that it is a phase that will pass, you will not kill yourself in it. And if you, as a teenager, growing up teenager, and then you feel pressured by your peers, oh, this person is doing better, or maybe you're facing what are they calling that thing when they harass you in school? What was it called again?
Bullying.
Bullying. Thank you. You're facing. Just know that it's a face. That guy that is bullying you, or that girl that is bullying you, they will soon pack out of that area. School will soon finish. The person will go. You will go. But if you die, kill yourself because the guy was bullying you. The guy will move on to the next person. Keep bullying. Your chapter is closed. So my point is, we need to be content, be patient, and understand season that most of the pressure that we feel will surely
Pass.
blow away. As far as you are alive, don't kill yourself and be the loser, please.
Okay, so what about the avenue of, what do we think? What are our thoughts on mental laziness as opposed to mental fitness? Because I look at comparisons now. I look at our parents born in, that were there in the 60s, they're about, my dad is about 71. You know, these people have fought war. They've been through. They've been through.
Yeah.
They've been through the former Buhari and the present Buhari. They're not dying. They're not going anywhere. They've been through economic bubble busts. They've seen things. There's been fraudulent times.
Yeah.
But they didn't kill themselves. They had unhappiness. In fact, you could tell when your dad was unhappy when he would just come back home and he's just shouting. There's no need to shout, you're just shouting. We could tell. We saw those things. But these people stayed.
Yeah.
They're in their 80s. They're in their 90s. Not all of them are successful as Peter or be billionaires or whatever.
But they're there.
But they're there. So we definitely can see without a shadow of doubt, these people had mental toughness.
Yeah.
Irrespective of whatever they went through. And even as children, because I remember my dad telling me he was conscripted at the age of, is it 15 or 16? To come into, he fought war. He was conscripted. They took him away from his grandmother. He was in the village.
By force, yeah.
Imagine if that kind of thing happened now. The teenager will just,
Turn the gun on himself.
I can't do this. I'm not ridiculing anybody, but do you think we are living in a time where we are mentally lazy and weak? And we are not even trying to build that. Rather, we are abdicating the responsibility to let our parents do the work.
Sure.
Most of our parents didn't have their parents do this work for them.
I wouldn't necessarily term it as, being mentally weak and all of that. I would see it as a case of misplaced priority where, the mental work is concerned. We misdirect it. So we are directing it towards, I want to make it in this life. I want to buy Benz. I want to buy the latest iPhone. If we can take all that mental energy and, put it in the right place.
Into something productive.
Yes, put it in the right place. Put it into building up your resilience and your mental strength. I think it will play out better than we see it right now.
And telling yourself it's going to get better.
Exactly.
All right, so, still on the topic of mental weakness and mental fitness. Victor, what's your thought on that?
Okay, I think back in the days, they were collecting what they were nourishing to them. They had that experience of not having the social media, whereby you see most of the time now the social media does not even enrich us mentally.
Yeah.
So what do you now expect? And unfortunately, if I'm to say that, are we even really holding on to God, Jesus Christ, who helps our inner minds, and that really helps. So this time around, you find out, especially the Gen Zs, they really do not care
About religion.
what nourishes their soul, so that when these obstacles or temptation or the time of bad mood comes, they will have that shield to carry on. So I think that's the issue right now.
Right.
Very interesting. And that I think I agree with you. People need to consciously build, their mental strength, because when you begin to expose yourself to things that are not going to help you mentally, then you begin to expose yourself to the ones that are going to destroy you. So what are you exposed to? What are you listening? Unfortunately, most people in this generation are very much interested in the negativity of the world, which is at your fingertips.
Violence.
They are all in your fingertips. So somebody wants to take his life, he frames it from beginning to end as a model for the next person to do the same, and he puts it on YouTube. Thank God for YouTube, Instagram, and some of these platforms these days. They begin to drop
Put in
those
some
videos.
measures, yes.
But sometimes they post it before YouTube will take the action. People have
People have
downloaded
already
it,
viewed it
and it's already
and
there. So
circulating.
unfortunately, we live in a generation where the social media and the advent of technology is really fighting hard against what it is, what the life was before now. And so our parents are doing the much they can, but the exposure, the information at our fingertips are too much. And so you're working, you advise your child right now, and he walks out of here with his phone, and the moment he flips it out, what he has seen has countered everything that you just did. So what is he holding on to? So it just boils down to the individuals. How strong mentally are you as you keep exposing yourself to some of these things you see? But I will advise people, like I said, they need to keep listening to things that will help you. Stay connected to things that will keep you alive. You mentioned, religion. Very true. If that is what you think that will keep you going, please stay connected to it. Don't detach. All right.
Okay, so yes, we've talked about all of that, but let's come to this part where, so some people already have it going good and all of that, but at the end of the day, let's still talk about how can one create his or her own happiness regardless of what is going on in the world. We live in tough times. God, Abule. Times are tough.
Yeah.
There is no day you wake up, something hasn't happened. It's either Boko Haram is doing something
Being in
somewhere,
Nigeria is hard
somebody
as
is
it
being
is already.
kidnapped somewhere,
Yeah.
Ukraine is fighting Russia, now
Sudan.
Sudan.
In fact,
And then we have over 3 million Nigerians in Sudan, which I still don't understand what they were doing there. But anyway, they're there. We can't bring them here.
Most times I get scared of picking up my phone in the morning.
It's
because
just,
You don't know what bad news comes up next.
So the question here is, how can one create their own bubble of happiness? So we can bring this back home. What do you do to create your own bubble of happiness that somebody out there can also learn from? Victor.
So when you know that you have to walk, okay? And you can't kill yourself if it does not work. So when you have that mentality that, yes, I need to work, I need to invest in this, I need to put in my energy here, but if it does not work, I will not die for that matter.
Yeah.
Because I still have hope of trying again, of going further. So when you have that strong mentality, yes, you mentioned a whole lot is happening in the world. You cannot shy away from that.
Sure.
Okay? But you just have to build your mind.
Resilience, right. You just have to.
You just have to. You don't have any
There's
other
no two ways
choice.
about
No 2 ways
it.
about that. If you build your mind, in fact, do you know that there's an extent that you even build your mind that if you have a sickness, your positive mind will kill that sickness.
Very true.
So it is from the mind. If you have that right mind, man, depression, drug abuse, all those stuff, they'll go their way.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Favor.
Well, there's how they say this thing. The best things in life are free. Why?
The air you breathe.
Yeah. Why break your head over the things that you cannot afford because you feel you cannot afford them at the time
Because
when the
someone
best
else
things
is
are
using
free,
a 500,000 naira hair.
right? So and then
Or some other guy's driving a Benz at
Yes.
21.
So, I mean, it's your responsibility to create your happiness. It might be little things. At the end of the day, it's little things that even count.
Yeah.
It's little things that matter. So, that's my take on it.
For me, I think, first of all, I value contentment. You need to be content with the phase. I call life phases and journey. It's a journey. So be content with the stage where you are at this time. And don't, like Victor said, don't kill yourself over everything. You find out that it is the little steps that you take that will get you to destination.
Drops of water paints an ocean.
Don't jump the gun. Don't jump it. It will always backfire. Take it one step at a time. So your classmates have become, the best, the biggest boys in town and everything. It is a phase. Take your own gentle steps. It's a journey God is taking you on. Follow through the person. Then follow the manual that actually controls the equipment. Like you bought an equipment. You are an equipment that God created, and there's a manual. Can you live by it, please? Don't create your own manual. It will backfire. So that's it. Just take life easy.
All right. So brings us to the closing question of the day. This segment. Are you happy, Victor? On a measure of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, measure your happiness.
Scale of 1 to 10?
Yes.
I think I'll keep it at 8.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll keep it at 8. It was higher before. It was close to 10, though. But life happened. So I'm waiting it to get back to 10. But, yeah.
Thank you, Favor.
I mean, I'd like to see myself. I like to think that I'm a happy child, right? So I laugh a lot, I play a lot. All those things are what keeps me going, right? So I'm happy.
All right, Abole, what's your measurement, 1 to 10?
Well, I'm not even going to lie about it. I'm in that phase where, yes, the pressure is real, where I feel like, oh man, things are not really working. But one thing I know, just like I've been saying on the show, it's a phase. So I usually talk myself out of this kind of things because it's not the first time that I've been in this position. I've also been in a position where things were so good, so I understand that where I am now is something I need to consciously remind myself. That's the season. And there must be a reason, there must be a lesson I am learning from this season that is required for the next one. So that's what I tell myself. So if I was weak mentally and say, oh, this pressure is too much, I die now, let me lose. So please don't lose. Win every day in life.
Thank you so much, Abole. That was really amazing. Okay, so for me, my measurement, I'd say that I'm at a 7. I'm at a 7 because I just really love the space I'm in. I've let go of a lot of people. I don't like too much baggage. My mantra in this day and time is lean and grow, lean and grow. So I'm not taking plenty things and playing people along with me. I don't have time for that. All right, so maybe you could try that as well.
Yeah.
All right, so lastly, quote of the day. If being happy is important to you as we think that it is, try this. Instead of regretting all you lack, celebrate all you've got.
Yeah.
That is really, really important.
Yeah.
You should take that to heart.
Right.
So at the end of the day, thank you so much for staying tuned with us. I hope that you have loved the show. Remember, it is Say It As It Is. I remain your host, Natasha. Let us know what you think. Comment so that we really can share happiness together, community. Thank you so much, and bye for now.